Breaking news tonight, live America's Heartland. A gorgeous co-ed sitting outside to study for exams, snatched from her books and papers in broad daylight. And was it practically on the eve of her honeymoon?
This beautiful 19-year-old college girl, police believe she was abducted from her college campus.
Oh my gosh, it was so scary.
It's an effort driven by the frantic message Khan left her sister just moments before she disappeared.
My heart is like pounding. I've never got this experience in my life.
After a strange man who she says smelled like marijuana says she slapped the suspect and ran away.
She hit him, and then he ran away.
And he left. He was so pissed.
She slapped him, he was really mad after it, and that was the end of it.
Don't know what's happening. You know, if she's out there in the cold, if she's hungry.
We looked at all of the telephonic devices.
Pick up your phones. I am freaked out right now.
We're putting the resources into it as if it was an abduction.
I need my ride back.
And think of Aisha Khan all the time.
And tonight, live, Maine, 8 p.m., a 20-month-old baby girl goes to sleep in her own bed. 9 a.m., baby Ella gone, snatched from her own home. Just hours before the baby disappears, mommy secretly goes to court to fight for full custody. She never sees the baby again. Cops focusing on daddy's garage. Search teams move their efforts from a local stream to dumpsters. Cops posting 24-hour police guard outside daddy's house. Breaking now as real-life CSI goes back into the family home. City Hall converts to search headquarters, and cops drain a local stream. Tonight, where is baby Ella?
No idea what happened to Ayla or who is responsible.
We've been trying to find out if there's some sort of connection to either the father, his family.
Family and friends will continue to do everything we can to assist in this investigation.
Poor little thing, she's so helpless, so defenseless right now.
Search teams move their efforts from a local stream to dumpsters.
We were searching dumpsters because they're in close proximity to where the child lived.
Daddy really never had anything to do with the baby up much before the June of this year.
Always been my intention to have a shared parenting arrangement with Ayla's mother.
They seem to think that all of the evidence is right here in this home.
We have to look directly at the family.
Ayla was in my sole custody at the time of her disappearance, per agreement between her mother and I.
Is she being fed? Is someone watching her? Is she somewhere?
More than 100 leads and 100 tips.
I want to see her face. I want to see her eyes. I want to feel her touch.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. I want to thank you for being with us. Bombshell tonight, live, America's Heartland. A gorgeous young co-ed sits outside studying for exams, literally snatched from her books and papers in broad daylight. And was it practically the eve of her honeymoon? Recently married, planning her honeymoon, now she's gone. We are taking your calls straight out to Dan Verbeck with KCUR, Kansas City. Dan, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, good evening, Nancy. Good to be with you.
So much is emerging, Dan. The story that I've gotten is changing. It's shifting. And Liz, if you could you please show where she was sitting when she was snatched? This young co-ed sitting at a picnic table there in like a quad area. It's my understanding, Dan, it was in the middle of finals. So these classrooms were not full of students and professors as they normally would have been.
It's a very small campus anyway, Nancy. It's a satellite of KU, the University of Kansas, and it's not much of a campus, if you will. It's not teeming as would a normal large campus.
Well, as a matter of fact, there's only about 2,000 students there, everyone on the verge of going home for Christmas break. The reality is there were not a lot of people there, but I also find it very interesting, back to Dan Verbeck with KCUR, that there was a construction crew. Let's take a look at this. Liz, is this one where I can see the construction crew area? There was a construction crew, and various members of the crew who were working say they see a young woman, it's the blue area of that diagram, let's see it again please, that they actually observe her walking away. Dan, if it's a homeless person, where's he going to drag her to?
Nancy,
Where? Not his home?
there are no homeless people in that area of an affluent section of the suburb. No homeless around there that anybody's seen.
So that doesn't ring true as well. We've gotten reports that a homeless man approached her, started a fight with her. She slapped him, went and used her phone. We've gotten reports that he was simply intoxicated. But I find it very difficult to fathom, Dan Verbeck, if you take a look at that scenario again, let's see the diagram, Liz, please leave it up, how she could be dragged by her wrist all the way across campus, kicking and fighting, and nobody sees anything. How did that happen, Dan?
Well, the premise, there are two premises on this one, Nancy, that she was abducted or that she ran away and it has just hit the road. And police are working with both of those possibilities. And yes, you're right, 3 construction workers tell police, according to police, that they saw a woman of her description. She's rather distinctive looking with the head garb and the long,
the hijab.
Long coat.
Yes.
And they saw her, they said, walking leisurely across the campus, apparently in no hurry to go wherever she was going.
All right. We are taking your calls. I want to go to Pat Brown now, criminal profiler, author of The Profiler. Here's the reality. By my analysis, there's 2 scenarios. Either the cops have not adequately performed a search and her body is right there amongst them. Remember Annie Lay and Clark, her attacker? Remember them? Yale University. He killed her in the university, in the laboratories, and stuffed her body in the wall. They didn't find her for days. Hello? There she was, right there. Either they are not adequately searching for her and her body is there somewhere around campus, or her story was inaccurate. What about it, Pat Brown?
Well, I have the same problems you do, Nancy. I mean, she could have been abducted, but I would think she would have to be taken away in a vehicle. And when she's on the phone giving that message, we hear nothing about a vehicle. Seems a little strange that this kind of sketchy dude was drunk or smoking herb or whatever, suddenly comes back with a vehicle. Maybe these 3 workers, they would have to have a vehicle there. They'd have to all be lying, and they all abducted her if they really saw her. But I go back to that phone message. I personally don't see the terror in her voice. I don't hear her hyperventilating. I don't hear her sounding terrified. She's not running away from anybody. Why are all her things just sitting there nicely on the table? Because if I were her, somebody just did that to me, I'd be grabbing up my stuff and I'd be getting the heck out of there. So I don't understand why there's no sign of an abduction, no sign of a struggle. It bothers me as well.
Also,
but it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
When you look at a scenario, if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. She leaves a message, and before we attribute any elaborate ruse to her, a lie on her part, it's more likely the simple answer is the correct answer, that it was not a ruse, that it did happen the way she said.
It may have.
If a man approached me, and a man I didn't know, and accosted me, I would not take the time to call all my friends at work and my family members. I'd call 911 or campus security. But that's just me, all right? So let's take a listen to what Pat Brown is talking about. Let's listen to her calls. This is the co-ed that is apparently snatched in broad daylight as she sits outside studying for an exam.
Oh my gosh, it was so scary. My heart is like pounding. I've never got this scared in my life. And he left and he was so pissed. Pick up your phones. I am freaked out right now. Okay,